What if your AI scraper could remember everything it sees? Instead of just pulling data once, it would track changes over time. You could track your competitors or monitor prices or watch for new leads and get alerted right when it happens. It would tell you exactly what changed and when. In my last video, I built an AI scraper that could crawl any site with plain English instructions using Firecrawl and N8N. It was smart, but kind of goldfish smart. It forgot everything after each run. So in this video, I fixed that. I added memory, a database layer that lets the AI scraper agent compare and track changes automatically. In today's video, I'll track a company's hiring page, and we'll get a notification on Slack as soon as the new job is posted. Let me show you how. So in my last video, and here's a quick recap, you can watch the whole video, I'll put it above. I created an AI agent that knows how to talk to Firecrawl in order to scrape anything in HTML, and it knows how to click and scroll and type with the current HTML. So this is an example. You can have a specific prompt of what to get, and it's just getting the data for you in the format that you wanted. So today we want to expand on this a bit more. We're going to be scraping this specific site that has a lot of different job titles that they have posted. So it's a very similar AI agent, but that new tool that I added is actually going to make a world of a difference. So what we're passing in is going to be very similar here. We have a start URL, a prompt, and an output format. So this is the site that we're going to be scraping. And then in the prompt, I'm passing get the list of jobs posted on this careers page, get the title, job description URL, and location. And then what's important is I'm giving it in the instructions, specifically check the database if the job exists and return the new jobs not in the database. And that's where the memory comes in. It wouldn't be able to do that without that concept of memory. Most of the prompt and the nodes are the same. The OpenAI chat model is the same. The Firecrawl scrape is the exact same. What changed is slightly in the system prompt. I added a specific database tool usage. So I put, if requested in the user message, you can call the Supabase tool to look up records in the table jobs. So in order to create that memory, what I actually need to do is I'm creating a specific database table where I keep track of all the information that I've looked at, so that next time that it scrapes the site, it already has the last snapshot. So you can easily check against that and see what's new, because otherwise it wouldn't know what new looks like. So here's how that works for that new node. So you're going to need to create a new Supabase tool that is connected to your AI agent. You can create a new credential, and you can click on Ask Assistant for the exact step. It's very straightforward, just a few clicks. You're going to be passing in all your host and secret in here, and then you should be able to start talking to it. Once you have that, then you can head to the SQL editor, and you're going to be pasting in this specific table structure that I'll post in the description below. You will be able to start creating a list of jobs that will contain the name of the company, the actual URL for each job title, the location, and then when it was first seen. So you can also go back in time. So if you run this, have a successful message, and you're going to start seeing that jobs table. Now, I've already run that script and I've pre-filled already the jobs in there. So you're going to be already seeing all the existing job posts that that site has. So going back to Supabase, you need to be able to look up if a job title already exists in the database. What we want to essentially do is only return the ones that are not in the database. You're going to set it up as get a row on a specific table, which is jobs. That's the one that I created. And then you can look up by anything. In my case, I want to look up by title. And I'll be able to do the $from AI similar to last time. The AI will figure out the exact value based on what it's scraping. I'm calling this job title and then a small description so it's clear. And that's mainly the new tool that we're adding. There's nothing new there, so we can run this very quickly and see what comes up. And as you can see, a few jobs were posted today. So I'm going to run this, and I would expect those two to come up. The other one should already be in the database. So so as you can see, it is thinking first, and then it actually decided to scrape in Firecrawl, and you can see the exact thing that it scraped, and it got all the HTML that I was looking for. So it already has access to the list of all the job posts. Now what it's going to do is going to check against the database one by one and make sure that for each job title that we have, it's going to actually query the database and see if it finds anything, right? So it looked for this specific summer internship one. It couldn't find anything in 2 in here. And then in the next one, it looked for weather data engineer, and there was something in the response. So that means it needs to skip over. If it already exists in the database, there's no point in going back to it. And then after a while, it's going to return what's new. And there we go. It was actually pretty quick. So here's what it found in the exact output that I asked for. Now, N8N always puts and wraps the whole response inside output. So we'll play around and massage that data a little bit, but here's the data that I'm looking for. It found 2, the summer internships, the one that were posted today. And so that's exactly what I was looking for. It found the title. It couldn't find the job description URL because it's one of those it's on the same website. It doesn't actually get a new URL. It got the location right. So it found those 2, and it did not find the other ones because, again, they were already in the database while the summer internships were not. So we have the right data from the AI agent. Now we're going to move the data around a little bit so that we can easily import that into the database so that the next time it runs, it doesn't catch this one again. So I'm doing a split out on output, and then that way it can actually get everything in a nice table, and you can see it turned 1 item into 2 items because there's actually 2 elements to add into the database. Then I have a Supabase node to create a row. So as you can see, resource row, create, same table as before, and then I'm passing in all the new information. So the title is coming from the items, the company, I'm hard coding to test company. You have the location directly from the JSON, and then you have the post URL as well. Again, it's empty here, but for other sites that might work. And then the first scene is just the now value, so what time it is right now as we're adding it to the database. So I'm going to add that into the database right now. And that was successful. It created those 2. If I go to the database, I can actually refresh, find those 2 summer internships that were just seen today. So yeah, it found those 2 summer internships that were just added today with the right location. So that's exactly what I was looking for. And now the very last step, we want to also trigger a Slack notification for both of those. So this is what I have here. I just set up the OAuth with my Slack, and then I'm sending to the channel. I created a new channel called Competitors Hiring. And then this is the message, and I can replace anything dynamically. Remember, you can drag and drop any value in here. This is what it looks like. This is just an example. And because we have 2, it's going to send 2 alerts. You can make this smarter and try to identify patterns of what job they're looking for, go into the specific job description and identify strategy changes, etc. You can go much deeper in terms of how much analysis you want to send back to Slack. This is all in the AI agent prompt. You can change any of this based on your needs. So I just did that, and if I check Slack, it just created those summer internships directly. New job found. That was pretty quick. I could run this N8N workflow on a recurring basis so that it would keep checking. And so because now I added them to the database, if I ran this again, it would actually tell me, yeah, there's no more jobs to look at right now. So you could really use this for competitor intelligence, for recruiting purposes, for even job hunting. There's a lot that can be done with this, but even think more globally, just the concept of the memory added to the AI agent. You could scrape Zillow for specific houses that you're looking at. You could scrape Amazon. You could scrape Product Hunt. If any of those are interesting to you, join my school community and leave a comment in there, and I'll make sure to have and post some exclusive content inside of that. The link to the workflows, the database queries, and anything from this video is going to be available for free on my school community. The link is going to be right below. In my next video, I'm going to be building a self-healing agent that actually fixes your code to update your CSS selectors automatically. So make sure to subscribe so you can see that video as soon as it comes out. I'll see you in the next one.